saw him the other day christening their new destroyer, and they
It's a John boat.
Is it not very good?
It's like 100-ton destroyer, but the problem was when they launched it, they had to launch it sideways. And you've probably seen boats get launched out of dry dock, and they do that scary splash, and then they right themselves. This one just drug its side along the ground, ripping its hull open, and then stayed on its side in the shallow water. If you look at the SAT images, they've covered the whole thing up with blue plastic. Kim is calling it criminal negligence and saying people are going to pay.
I bet the guy in charge of pushing that in the water is already dead.
Yeah, it's a big boat.
Wild.
That's embarrassing. Like you know how excited he was about that ship.
There were pyrotechnics and fireworks. Like there was like red carpet.
He was up all night. He was so excited.
Cool. And it looked like an American battleship. Like I saw pictures of it in the water.
Looks modern
on its side. Say that again.
It looks modern.
Yeah, it looks. Well, I just expected a North Korean naval ship to be like a converted fishing ship, some cargo ship, or like it looked a little dated. No, it's like they had an artist build a non-functional battleship that looked like one of ours, and then it immediately sank.
I think their subs are all diesel subs. I think their subs are the green subs because of the algae in that area. So, yeah.
What do you mean by green subs?
They paint them green.
Oh.
They're not like good for the environment.
I was like,
yeah.
They're
the worst.
Algae? Like it's obviously salt water, huh?
Some sort of something like or plankton or whatever. Probably not algae. Probably some sort of phytoplankton or something that makes the water in that area green, and so they paint them green. Look at that.
Oh, interesting.
Huh. Okay.
So they're like generations behind on subs.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're falling behind in subs. Like,
are we?
We need more. We're behind. We're behind in the Navy at this point with like tons of ships in the water. I think. I mean, not total, but like China has way more dry dock capacity than we do. If there was a conflict and they sunk, if there was a sustained war, it might look ugly right now. I don't know about Trump's military budget spending. I know he's wanting a ton. He's wanting a ton of money spent. I just don't know if it's spent in the right places for the second half of the 21st century.
I don't know what the right places are.
Seem like it.
Drone warfare, I feel like, is going to be a big one, both defensive and offensive. Like drone deterrence, doing something about the carbon or the fiber optic drones. You know, there's nothing for that other than kinetic systems, right? The jamming doesn't work. There's a microwave system that maybe Israel or France has that seems like it would work, but
Androl has some EMP stuff that they've some focused EMP stuff that they're. I don't know.
I don't remember what country it was in World War II, or maybe it was World War I. Like maybe the Polish had like a cavalry charge at Germans or something like that in World War I, and it was like a definitive moment where it was like, oh, this is over. Like this isn't what we do anymore. This Hussar thing we've been doing for centuries, for millennia. No, horses, you're getting retired. Do you think that could happen with like modern Navy fights? Like next time we have a big global fight, do we like send out a bunch of proud destroyers only to watch a bunch of drones destroy them and be like, okay, well, we've all leveled up past that part of the tech tree. It's time to find the new thing.
Everyone tells me I'm wrong on that. I had this idea that Death Stars are bad, swarms are good, right? And America's so proud of its Death Stars, whether they be aircraft carriers. I know they're a little swarmy, but work with me. Or whatever it is. Like, we're not doing cheap swarm stuff. We do F-35s. And I'm just not sure it's the right direction. But what do I know?
No, I mean, at least we're having a conversation, right? I think the big concern was really brought to light with the Houthis when they would, they would shoot like a rocket, that cost a few thousand, if not tens of thousands of dollars. And then our response would be a multi-million-dollar Tomahawk cruise missile. And when you're spending that much money on these different things, like you say, your destroyers, your Death Stars become big targets. So if you're able to use like a inexpensive swarm tech, the big value proposition at this point that I don't think a lot of people, well, maybe some are, but cybercom's probably more so than anything is, the vulnerabilities around, code. So much of our life is connected in so many different ways. I mean, fucking mattress has a software subscription, right? Like everything has a software component to it, devices and stuff like that. That's why I honestly, if and again, I'm still trying to figure out this whole book thing. The first one really more so than anything was meant to kind of help individuals, because I think a lot of our mutual friends focus on their fitness, firearms proficiency, and stuff like that. But a lot of people aren't thinking about the cognitive atrophy and manipulation that's going on out there. And so, if you can kind of shore up these vulnerabilities, have at it. I think more people should have those conversations. But the next thing, if I were to do something, would probably be around cyber warfare, and like the individual's responsibilities around, shoring up vulnerabilities within their homes and the things that they do. Like a good example would be a VLAN. Most people hear VPNs and stuff like that. And while it is great to encrypt your information through your internet service provider and stuff like that, for whatever reasons, I think that, when your Roomba, your dishwasher, all these other different things manufactured and who knows where has some type of code running on your network, having it, like the exploit here recently on Bluetooth and AirDrop on the iPhone, and potential worming capabilities and being able to infect everybody on the entire network. It's like it's pretty insane. It's pretty
you
scary.
like lose internet and then you can't change your thermostat settings anymore.
It's wild.
Like, this added a failure point that kind of just makes this more annoying than it was.
But there's so much information out there. And again, like, not to beat the dead horse about the book, but like, I'm standing on shoulders of giants, and the research that did, like Dr. Anna Lemke around the dopaminergic system and stuff like that. All these people, these researchers who did studies on alcoholism to pornography to gambling and stuff like that. The average person doesn't have time to distill all that information down to find the signal and the noise. And I'd argue technology is arguably way more complicated, orders of magnitude in so many different ways. Like the average person, when you tell them about setting up a VLAN on their home network, their eyes just gloss over. So there's a lot of things out there. Like, the coin.
And most people don't even intrinsically like see a value in it because they haven't, they're busy paying bills and day-to-day stuff. And so it hasn't even entered their mind. Like when they're doom scrolling, they're just like, they get to the point that it's like boring on social media, on Instagram or Twitter. And then they're like, I guess that's enough for the day. They don't
that's really frustrating for me, because I totally understand it. I hear that argument so many times when it comes to people, when it comes to privacy, speech, and so many different things. But the really frustrating thing is when it comes from somebody in the 2A community who is staunch. They're very opinionated about, like, we have to protect the right to bear arms. Like, we're not given an inch and, on any of this, but then they'll go give all of their data to people for free. They'll sign up for everything because they're trading convenience or trading security for convenience. And it's like, well, no, like if you really feel that about an individual's rights, you should figure out what these other things are that you're giving up from a security standpoint for convenience. And I think that's the conversations a lot more people should have as we edge into this artificial intelligence and humanoid robotic world that's
can't wait
coming.
Yeah, you have to be more cognizant. I can tell when I've been doom scrolling that, because I get served, or at least if I like scroll Twitter too long, all my entire feed just becomes like the least helpful life hacks you could imagine.
Like what?
From the third world, where it's some guy in India sitting there with like a rusty pipe and then like a plastic bottle, and it's like an AI voice commentating where it's like, use the bottle on the blade, pull quick, it will create a useful string that can be used for tasks. Use this next time you are in need of twine, or like just like some stupid thing. And it's like, I saw like a guy who was like trying to give a tip on how to put a new outlet in a wall, except it was like clearly on like the side of a burnt out building in like South Sudan. And so like the wall itself is shattered. There's no interconnectivity. And it's like, use a board to ensure right angles perpendicular to walls. and like it doesn't quite make sense what they're saying, and it's not helpful at all. And I'll like watch a couple minutes of that and be like, I can't believe I just spent 2 minutes of my life just watching this, but I'm watching it just baffled, like indignant at like this is content. Who are the 40,000 people who liked this? There must be more bots than ever on social media.
That's how I distinguish good content from bad. It's not the length of or the amount of time that you've wasted. It's whether you regret wasting it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it can be fun to watch stupid nonsense, but
you can go through the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. Is that 14 hours? Maybe is that a good estimate?
Like nine and a half or so.
Are you watching the extended edition?
Extended edition, probably 10 and a half.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Have you seen this?
But you can watch that and be like, that was amazing. This was the best day I've had. I've never been more high and hungry and enjoying this content. Or you could doom scroll for that 10 and a half hours and be like, I ruined my day. I wish I could try again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll just sometimes see things, especially like war footage or just like generally negative, divisive things that don't have anything to do with you directly. And it's like, oh man, was it healthy for me to like just mindlessly scroll past like two people exploding and then like seeing a hockey highlight and then seeing like someone calling for violence openly about like some political shit? And it's just like, this is so, and then some guy in Bangladesh teaching me how to, that if I want to use soap in the wilderness, I don't just take off soap shavings. I remove everything in a syringe, so it's just the plastic tube, and then I insert it through the whole bar of soap so that it creates a tube of soap, and then I cut that into small things. That's a literal life hack one I saw from Africa. It didn't make any sense. It was like
so stupid.
Even the comments on that one were like, you already had the soap, man. Like, what are you doing here?
What you're describing is DIY. That's a whole subreddit and a whole category of fun brain rot. It's DIY. They do something. They go through this whole rigmarole of like ruining everything and making it extra complicated. And in the end, it was like, or just buy a glass, or just buy a cup. Or
if people aren't familiar with this, DIY is DIWHY. Like, why would you do this? And like Kyle said, it's just terrible things, often involving a lot of glue guns that just make garbage crafts.
Glue guns like 3D printers, yeah,
they use glue guns like 3D printers, or they just put together like popsicle sticks and papers and shit. And at the end, you're like, this is just garbage. Like, this is so much worse than any other coaster I've ever seen.